Rowdy, last time I saw you, brother, you were at an exhibition I curated, and I begged you to freestyle. This is at American Tobacco campus, so appreciate you being here doing that.
Hey man, it's good to be here.
So you just watched your video
for the first time. This was very dope, and like thank you to the NC Arts Council for like making and putting these videos together. This was amazing to see.
Word. So tell me your initial thoughts after watching it.
I think it's important, especially like in lyricism, to be able to break down your bars and like show the meaning behind each line. I think every artist that is a part of this project puts a lot of thought and feeling into the words that they're saying, and to like see it like live, and especially with the animation, and truly like I think it brings out the meaning that we're trying to convey, and I'm excited to see everyone else's as well.
So you open the video talking about defining the narrative, and that immediately takes me to the redemption period in the United States right after Reconstruction, where we start to see all these inaccurate images of black people essentially. So talk about what you mean specifically when you talk about defining the narrative.
And so with that, those are like caricatures of what a black man was in that Reconstruction period. So the only way I can really break this down in my mind, so there's this popular song out right now by Jack Harlow. It's called What's Poppin', right? It's a very top charting song, but the remix has Lil Wayne, DaBaby, and Tory Lanez in it. And those are, I would say, a good representation of what the mainstream looks like. And so if I break that down, again, I'm saying Lil Wayne, I'm saying DaBaby, and Tory Lanez is like a 5 foot, short. What I feel like, especially if you take the mainstream at face value, what's foisted upon black men in mainstream rap music are these adolescent values almost, where we're kind of kept in this box of being being the man, and what that means in a stereotypical form, being able to cultivate as many women as possible, being able to indulge yourself, I guess, in I don't know how I want to make sure I'm using the right words and all this stuff, but being able to indulge in unhealthy habits and whatnot, and that's being what's represented as being a man, from like Future to like these little Uzis and whatnot. If you take hip hop at that mainstream value, I feel like it puts specifically for black men this adolescent box that they keep us in, and so that's what I really was focusing on.
What's interesting is if you go back to the late 1800s, you start to see a lot of those caricatures, right? Political cartoons, advertisements, a lot of outlets, made us look like things that we weren't. To see you juxtapose that with what these rappers' names are, I think is fascinating. Let's talk about being the one in the room. Rita Walker is a professor of psychology at the University of Houston, and she published a book this year called The Unapologetic Guide to Black Mental Health. And I want to read an excerpt from that and get you to respond.
Please.
She writes this about blackness. At times, blackness is like wearing an invisible veil while navigating through life. You can see through the veil, but your vision is distorted. Interactions with others at work and school remind you that you don't belong. You value the spaces where you can exist free from this quote unquote otherness. So you went to UNC, you studied business administration, you went to a private high school. Talk about being the one in the room from your perspective, from your lived experiences.
All right, so I'll break this down like this. So I have a lot of different names. My name is Kevin Joshua Rowsey II. They call me Rowdy. Kevin was what I was called in kind of the corporate world. And when I almost have to wear a different self when I was in these environments. I would have to, again, I know I'm black, without a doubt. Every day I step into any sort of room, but it seems like you would have to, again, put your blackness to the side to be able to be accepted in these spaces. And again, this is carried, throughout my entire life. I went to Do School for Children, Carey Academy, Keenan Flagler, Wall Street, Indie Week. I'm a teacher. I'm a black teacher. There are not too many black teachers right now. I think hip hop and me finding black space, I'm just now in a place where I am finding this voice, where I am free of having to be guided wherever I am trying to navigate to, where I can just be my authentic self. So like really just recently, it's been this position where I'm like, oh, this is what it means to be free. This is what it means for me to like speak, you know, in my true authentic voice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like Professor Walker says, you know, seeing life through that veil and it gets distorted. That's a very, very interesting perspective. You were featured on our brother Kevin Kazi Thomas's new album.
I was. Shout out to Kevin Kazi. Shout out to Dasan. What's up, y'all?
Yeah, 1,000 Shades of Black. And the song with, you mentioned Dasan, you and Nathan Harris, is called Good Trouble.
Yeah.
And on your verse, you open with this line. I love this line. You say, all right, here's the question. If my baby sister is a cop, every lesson I am second guessing. So again, we see that duality that sometimes black people have to live with. Break that bar down for us.
All right, so now here's the question. If my baby sister's a cop, every lesson I am second guessing. So basically, my sister is one of Durham's fighters right now. She is a Durham police officer. And that happened, you know, quite recently when she graduated in 2016. And, you know, with what's happening, man, it's about to get real, okay. With what's happening in the world, that provided a dichotomy even within my own community, man. And I love my sister. I love my sister to death. That is my best friend. My best friend is a police officer. That is my reality. And I have learned I'm just learning to understand that my opinion is going to be different even from people that look like me. And being able to walk in that truth is something completely new for me. And having a sister that is a police officer, like especially now during this time, it has brought some of the toughest conversations with my family and just within myself, because at times, like I would say my peers would make me feel that my sister is my enemy, and that hurt. That was crazy, bro. I ended up having dreams of if I could be real with you real quick, like having dreams of my sister gunning me down. That's crazy, dog. And having to deal with that, I think I've just been put in a very unique position to show you that there is just a different perspective on all fronts. And I am trying to, everywhere I go, I'm trying to represent this authentic truth. And if I see something different, even if it's with my own people, bro, like I'm standing tall in that truth right now. And that's where that line is coming from.
Man, I'm so glad that this is a space where we can be vulnerable and honest.
Hey, man, I'm gonna let you know, over the last like couple weeks, I've really, and just this whole Corona period has gotten me to a point where I've had to re-examine myself in a very real way, and just being able to be vulnerable and understand like there is truth and there is healing when you're able to bring your most authentic self and be vulnerable and bring it to the people and bring these perspectives.
You say a lot of people take black music and black culture, but they don't necessarily want to stand with black people.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about what that looks like as far as policy changes and things. What is a good ally in your eyes?
All right, y'all. So I'm just thinking about this. So in policy change, I'll bring it to an example in my world in the corporate world right now. I think if we're talking about being good allies now, I think there's going to be a very tough conversation that people are going to need to have. The majority is going to need to have. Are you willing to give up your spot to bring someone else up that you know is deserving? It's a different game that's being played. And I think that now more than ever, I think to be a true ally, I think you need to actively seek out ways in which you can bring up people and bring not just equality, but like equity, man. Like we want to bring the game has been messed. The system has been messed up and not in our favor as black people for the last 400 years. That's the reality. That's the truth. Sorry, guys. Like, we ain't asked for it. You know what I'm saying? So now it's for the people that the system does put in power, does help, does actively, support. Are you willing to see your position in that system? And then are you willing to break down that system that has helped you so much to really bring that equality across the board? I think that's what it's going to mean to be a true ally in 2020, 2021. I think there's, bro, like, as much as Black Lives Matter is a movement and people putting out signs and like people thinking again, like, yes, we have a black woman vice president coming up, which I'm excited about. But outside of what it looks like cosmetically, what are you doing systematically to make that change? That's what I'm focused on right now.
Yeah, you said so much that I wish we had time to really,
to
really dig into, because when you talk about, earlier this year, a lot of street murals went up, defund the police, end racism now.
Right.
Well, that's great.
Great.
But like what happened in D.C., if the police budget is going to increase, but we put, defund the police on the street, what's our net gain there?
And here's also what I want to say about defund the police, guys. Let's look at it. I think, again, the executive function of a police officer to protect and serve, great. That is great wording. As much as America, it was founded on, the land of the free and equal, like all men are created equal. But again, the system in place is leaned towards, this country is founded off white, cis, Christian, rich men. So that needs to be all taken away. So when we say defund the police, sorry, like, I get a regular uniform, but what's the military gear for? We gotta take that out, because who is that for? Like, that, we don't need a privatized military. I feel like we do need, a system in place to help us. But when we get towards, like these big guns, like, who these big guns for? What are these garbs for? The protest garbs for? Like, who is that for? Who is that for? Who did you plan to use that on? We need to take a look at that seriously. And that's my thoughts on that for sure.
Yeah, you reference essentially citizenship, who could be citizens. So everybody at home, go look up the Naturalization Act of 1790. It's a very, very interesting read, and you can see sort of where the country comes from. I want to thank Rowdy for joining us, offering your talents and giving us your thoughts today. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate y'all, man.
All right, you can follow Rowdy on Instagram @RowdyLife, or visit his website, lifeisrowdy.com.